Alright guys, so I got a new gun. This is not an airsoft gun, this is a real gun. So I built an AR-15 about a year ago. Actually, it's been 2 years, I think. Yeah, it's been 2 years since I started it, that is. I didn't get it done for probably 5 months, 4 or 5 months after I got the initial part. I got a low receiver from Palmetto State as my base. It took me about 5 months to build that gun up. I love that gun. I love the AR-15. It's just awesome. Super modern, super comfortable to shoot. All over, love it. Now, as a second gun, I was either going to get a pistol or another rifle, and I just went ahead and just decided to get another rifle. And I kind of wanted something a little bit more classic. So what I have here is more World War II oriented. The gun saw service in Korea and Vietnam too, but it's it came out in the 40s, 1940s, so around World War II. It was kind of late, like mid to late World War II action, because during the war they saw that they needed a gun like this, so then they designed it. So, I can't really explain the reason why I decided to get this over. There's so many other guns with history. As far as World War II history, I could have gotten like an M1-Garand. I could have gotten, a Mosin Nagant. Those are very cheap guns. Actually, one of my friends, he has a Mosin. And what's cool about his is I think it's 1941 stamped. And every single, most of the parts on that gun have serial numbers. And they all match. And the rifling is actually in pretty good shape on that gun. So his dad bought it at a pawn shop and then gave it to him for his birthday. But for what he paid for it, that is a fantastic Mosin in very good condition. The stock doesn't seem to be cracking, and again, the rifling on the barrel looks great, and the barrel is actually stamped the same date as everything else on the gun, the same serial number as well. So it has to be original. I don't think it's a reproduction. From the research that I did, I could not find that, they reproduced those guns and then threw a 1941 date on there. I haven't heard of such a thing. So I'm pretty sure it's a legit 1941 because all of the serial numbers match, and it probably just sat for a long time and was not shot. So that is an awesome gun. I'm going to try to make a video on that gun. It being an old bolt action, there's hundreds of videos on YouTube of those guns, so I won't make an in-depth video on that. I'll just shoot it and talk about features and caliber and stuff like that. A short video on that one. So with this gun, I have not shot it yet. I'm going to try to go tomorrow to shoot. No guarantees though. So this is going to be more of an unboxing and initial feelings of the rifle. So I have not shot it. I don't know the reliability. I've heard some people have had reliability issues with this gun, this reproduction. But everyone's going to have issues with a gun. It's just how it is. There's always somebody that has an issue with their gun, across the world pretty much. So I've heard some people have this gun, this exact model, and pretty much current date made ones, and they love it. They say they have no issues. So we'll see which one I got. But let's go ahead and open it up. So here it is. I got the box facing towards you. So I'll start with what it comes with. So this is a really, really long zip tie, and this is actually what was inside of the barrel, the chamber, and it held the bolt open just a little bit, just to identify that it's empty, I guess. Not only that, but there was also these caps. So this one was covering the charging handle. This one was actually covering the tip. And then this one, I'm not sure where this one came from, to be honest. It might have been the sling mount. So cover pieces on there, which is nice to help protect. You also get a gun lock. I've never used one of these. There's a manual in there, so it explains it, so you can keep it safe. I believe this goes through. Does it go through the barrel? I honestly don't know. There's manuals somewhere in here to basically make it so it's safe so that nobody can fire the gun, pretty much. It also comes with manuals here. This is an auto ordnance, which is Car Arms. It's the same brand. So there's warranty information in here and a owner's manual, which when I do take the gun apart to clean, I will need to look at that because I've never taken one of these apart before. It also comes with a 15-round magazine. Now, I had purchased 2 spare magazines before I even got the gun. They're different finish. I don't know if you can tell compared to the one that comes with it. It's shinier, more glossy. These are smoother. The bullets seem to go in and out a little bit easier, so these are probably going to be better for feeding. Also, one thing I thought I'd mention right now is that when the back of the magazine follower is flat, it's the bolt stop magazine. So this bolt will lock back with this magazine, but none of the others. And obviously during the war, they didn't have these. So I'll have to test them both. They look identical and they even have the same markings. Like there's a U on the back here. So maybe it's the same brand. I got it from the same, I went to a gun show and got it from the same guy. $15 a piece, which is decent for magazines of these kind. I might be getting more. We'll see if these feed fine. I'm happy with that. The magazine that comes with it doesn't seem to be as good a quality, I'll be honest. I've seen some YouTube videos where people have had jamming issues and stuff, and they said, there was 2 videos that I saw that people were saying, oh, the magazine that comes with it's not good. I bought these aftermarket ones and the gun runs fine. Alright, so with the box out of the way and all its contents gone over, here's the rifle. I have never ever shot one of these. I've held a few at a gun show, a few Rockola, IBM, USGI ones, and they felt great. This one feels just as good by holding it. I will say that the metalwork on here might not be quite accurate to the real one just from looking at it. I'm not an expert. But when I held the Rockola and the IBM at a gun show, the finish was a lot smoother. So I'm not sure. Those were USGI ones, so I don't know if maybe those were refit after World War II, like during Korea and Vietnam, and those were kind of the standard after that, were like refit, but the original ones are more like this, because this is a replica of the a reproduction of the World War II version. So this is not like one that's, was used in Korea or Vietnam, because when they went through service, they added some things, like they changed the back sight, they put a bayonet lug on the front, they did a few things here and there, but this is a pretty accurate reproduction to a World War II one, which is what I wanted. I wanted, something that has some history to it as far as the design and the pattern of what was used, but I also kind of wanted something new and didn't want to spend $1,200 on a Rockola USGI. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with a review in this video. I'm going to just review the gun. Do keep in mind, again, like I said this earlier, I have not shot the gun. I do not know the reliability. I will be taking it to shoot it, whether or not it's tomorrow or 2 or 3 weeks from now. I will be recording it, and I will tell you guys the reliability of it. So, if you're seeing this and you want to know the reliability, I don't know, subscribe to me and you'll see a shooting portion of the gun sooner or later, within the month, I promise. So, I'll start from the front and go to the back. It just has a standard blade sight on the front. I think that's what they call it. It doesn't seem to be adjustable in any way. There's a pin on it, so I believe you can pull it off, and then you could put like a bayonet lug on here if you wanted to. As far as USGI compatibility, I've heard people say, no, the auto ordnance is not USGI compatible, and the universal's not, blah, blah, blah. But I've seen plenty of people put a bayonet lug on here. Now, whether or not they're getting a aftermarket one that fits this, or if it's a USGI that fits it, I don't know. You'll have to ask around if you're interested in something like that. But from what I've heard, this is not USGI compatible, which is okay, because I'm not going to make it a USGI gun. I bought it as is to fire, as long as the parts are good quality and the fit is nice and it functions, I'm happy. I'm not going to be trying to throw some USGI stuff on here to make it, you know, legit, whatever. So moving forward, I believe this is called the barrel band. It's got a sling mount on there. The other sling mount portion for the rear is the cleaning rod system, which isn't included with this. I thought it was. Doesn't matter to me. I'll never use the cleaning kit, but that's how the stock was mounted. So I believe you just have to purchase that aftermarket. I looked in the box, I didn't see it in there. It's no big deal to me. The wood on here is walnut, if I'm not mistaken. As far as the finish, it looks pretty good to me. I don't know if it's accurate to World War II specs. I did hold, like I said, I think it was like 4 or 5 different M1s, USGI ones, Rockola, IBM, a bunch of different brands. One was Winchester. And they felt different compared to this. They were more worn. Obviously, there was like dents and stuff in the stock, but it seemed to be a little bit more glossy and smooth. This is new, obviously, but I'm happy with it. I like more of a darker wood instead of a light color. Some guns have light colored wood. I don't like that. This is dark, and I like it. So moving forward, obviously this handguard here is actually like divoted in so that you can line up the sights. The rear sight on here is 2 apertures, the correct for the World War II one. One is a little higher, one's a little lower. The size of the hole seems to be the same size, which kind of sucks because it is a pretty tiny hole to line up. I mean, yeah, it kind of sucks. So as far as the bolt and such, the bolt handle, it seems to be smooth enough. I did not add any more lubricant to this gun whatsoever, and I'm not going to, I don't think, before I go and shoot it, because out of the box, a gun should function. Maybe a little bit of break-in, but it should function with the lube that's on it, if you ask me. So as far as markings on the gun, on the front here of the chamber on the top, it says M1-Carbine Cal 30 M1. I don't think that's accurate to the real one. You know, it would have IBM and a bunch of other markings, so it's not accurate to a specific brand, because why would it? You know what I mean? Why would it have Rockola markings? It just wouldn't make any sense. Down here it says Auto Ordnance, Winchester, Massachusetts. Worcester, Massachusetts. I hope I'm saying that right. So that's the markings for this specific gun, because that's where it was made. So it is US made. The charging handle and the bolt system, again, seems to be fairly smooth. I've heard of people having issues with bullets jamming and not feeding correctly. I did take some ammo and put it in these magazines and actually charge the gun. I am using Tula. I have a bunch of this. I think I got 500 total. So they're steel case, which obviously is not as smooth at feeding. But I was having some issues with it jamming when I was charging it. So, but again, these guns probably need a little bit of a break-in. So they're actually chambered fine. And it seems to be getting better, because I've done this a little bit, and all 3 of those ejected totally fine, no jams. Because before, when I first got the gun today, the first few times I loaded these magazines, it would jam pretty much every time. I'd have to be rough with it to get it to actually chamber. Now it seems to be breaking in, and I kind of wanted to do that ahead of time before I go shoot, so that I'm not bang, bang, jam, bang, bang, jam, and having to fiddle with it. I'd rather it be broken in when I go to shoot it. There is a feature on this where you can lock the bolt by pulling back and pushing down. You kind of have to find a sweet spot. There's a little ridge for it. That's where you can... It's nice to be able to lock that back. It really is, because then you can reload with a fully loaded 30-round mag. Sometimes the 30-round mag, or sorry, a 15-round mag, or a 30, is hard to put in when it's fully loaded, when the bolt's forward. That's how it is on most guns. Okay, so like an AR-15, you 30-round mag, you put it in the gun with the bolt forward. You have to hit that mag to be able to lock it. In most AR-15s, at least mine and every one I've shot. So you have to give it like a tap. Whereas with this, you do have to do that as well. But with the bolt back like this, it's a nice feature to be able to put it in and not really have to worry about having to hit that. And then you can just go like that and load a bullet into the chamber and be set. As far as other features, the magazine catch is right here. Nothing to write home about. It was very stiff when I first got it, and it was like grinding, but I kind of sat here and just moved it back and forth, and it's broken in. It feels great now. Trigger, I think it's like a 6-pound, I guess like a stock AR-15 trigger, to put it in perspective. It seems okay. I'd say it's between 8 and 6 pounds. With my AR-15, I have a 3-pound trigger in it, and it's a straight trigger, and it's super nice to shoot. That gun's beautiful to shoot. This is obviously more original, so it's not going to be as nice, but it's like a combat trigger, I guess you'd probably consider it. So the bullet that this thing shoots is actually pretty tiny. Now, I've heard a bunch of people say, oh, it's underpowered, blah, 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 for a military gun. This gun was designed to be used instead of a 1911. Now, I could just imagine soldiers, like for tank crews, paratroopers, stuff like that, that would normally carry a sidearm, the 1911, or maybe another pistol, whatever, and probably be able to shoot 50 feet, you know, confidently. Past that with a pistol, like, honestly, forget about it in combat. And they get handed this thing. I would be ecstatic, because this thing's light. This thing is like 5 to 6 pounds, fully loaded. I think it's like 6 with a 15-round mag. That's incredible for like wartime stuff, because M4 or M1 Grands were very, very heavy. And then obviously it even got heavier. The Thompson was extremely heavy. A bunch of heavy guns back then, and then you get a 6-pound rifle like this that's semi-auto. Incredible. I would have been ecstatic. Now, obviously, it doesn't have the stopping power of a M1 Garand. Those M1 Grands will put you down in a second. This thing, obviously, is not going to get the range either. These things are designed for under 300 yards. And in my opinion, 300 yards is pretty incredible, you know, range. My AR-15 with a red dot on it, 100 yards probably. I probably wouldn't take it past that with a red dot. With this thing with iron sights, you can make 100-yard shots easy, you know. And obviously I haven't shot it or did any contenders, but as far as, you know, man-sized targets at 100 yards, I've seen plenty of videos of people that are better shooters than me shooting these guns and putting it past 200 yards and hitting man-sized targets fairly effectively. So it's a viable round. It's basically a giant 9mm. This is 110 grains, 9mm full metal jacket's like 115, so just slightly lighter. But this thing is like twice the length of a 9mm, so it's going to get a lot more muzzle velocity with even, you know, it's got a longer barrel. I think this is an 18-inch. It might just be a 16, but a longer barrel. It's just accelerating down the barrel, and it's getting some pretty good feet per second out of it. So these things are cool. They're easy to shoot too, from what I've heard. Speculation, because I haven't actually shot it. But from what I've seen, pretty smooth shooters, light recoil, not super loud, stuff like that. Great to start, you know, if somebody hasn't shot a gun before, something great to start them on. So I think with everything out of the way, I think I got everything covered. There's some technical information I'm not going to mention. I'm not an expert with these guns, really. I'm an expert with airsoft guns, not real guns. But I love this thing. I can't wait to take it out to shoot it. So if you have any questions or anything, let me know. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Alright, so here is the Auto Ordnance M1-Carbine. I've got the original magazine full of 15 rounds. I've only shot 10 rounds through this gun in total, and it went through all 10. So I don't know how it'll do with a full 15 round mag. I am using 110 grain full metal jacket Tula steel cased, so feeding might be iffy. Alright, so let's try a aftermarket magazine. I don't know what brand it is. I got it at a gun show. I've got 10 in here. All right, we got a steel plate out here. I'm gonna shoot probably about 100 feet. Yeah, it took me a little bit to get on it, but all right, so I've shot about 100 rounds through it. I don't know if it's getting any better as far as smoothness. I can tell right off the bat that the 2 spare mags that I got don't feed as well. I don't know if it's breaking, or I might just have to search down the right mags. So let's try 10. This is one of the aftermarket mags. Also, I think for now on, I'm just going to buy brass case for this gun, because the steel case it's lagging a little bit. See what's happening is the bolt is coming forward and jamming up the round right there, and so you just barely have to pull it back. It might be underpowered. This ammo might be too underpowered to cycle the gun. Because it does feel a little sluggish. So that leads me to believe that maybe it's just underpowered ammo and it needs a full military load to get it to cycle. This is the stock mag with 10 rounds. So I feel like it's getting better, but that just might be me being hopeful. But for now on, definitely once I'm done with I think I got 500 of this steel case, I'm just going to get brass case for now on. Went through all 10 there, so